infiltrating our country.
What? Lady, you're in California. What are you saying right now? That is so weird. Bro, that is so odd. Like, how are you so stupid? Like, how can you live like that? How can you unironically live like that? I'd be going crazy. Like, there's no way she believes this, right? But yeah, we're going to do the middle ground. We're going to get back to these freaks.
Not James O'Keefe, a whistleblower.
Yeah, this is, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Jubilee. We got on the one side, for those of you who weren't here yesterday, on the one side, we have MAGA conservatives. On the other side, we have liberals who are anti-Trump Republicans. It's actually pretty fun. It's hog on hog violence.
He and his media group, which published it,
right. So there's nuance there. It sounds like you don't understand the nuance of a lot of these issues. You just said half the judges. You said half the judges who dismissed these cases were pro-Trump judges. What does that mean? They were appointed by Bush. They weren't appointed by Trump.
A lot. They were Republican judges, right? What
they were appointed by Trump.
Are you saying there's like this massive scheme among the judges? The judges got together beforehand and they were like,
Nicole from the Creators for Palestine event mentioned you on her pod.
Whatever. I'm influencing you.
What is
now,
this?
Hasan Piker's an evil. And you know what? Hasan Piker, you will pay.
Oh, it's the it's the hummus. Oh, she made the hummus alongside. Yeah, the hummus was bad. No, this is not a psychopath lady. Everybody shut up. She's memeing. Okay, calm down. She was a part of the Creators for Palestine charity. She's just joking. Okay, let's just get back to this. Oh my God, I'm so overstimulated. Oh, I can't pay attention. I can't. What is wrong with me?
Oh, like, you know what? We actually all hate guns.
Yeah, I do believe they all hate
guns. You think all of them got together?
I think
fact check. Half of the dismissals were not judges that were appointed by Trump.
No, not
you're saying his information is wrong. What information do you?
He just said that half of the judges that dismissed the cases were pro-Trump judges. And meaning
pro-Trump,
what? What does that mean?
Some of them were even appointed by Trump. Right?
Half of them?
No, not half of them. I'm saying pro-Trump, as in like Republican appointees.
That does not mean you're pro-Trump if you were appointed
in the
by
2020
Bush.
Election. I would say
that
that
the
vast
fundamental
majority,
misunderstanding of how the law works.
I would say that the vast
judges
majority,
are not political. They are.
Whoa, judges are not political. 100%. So that means that they didn't make political decisions to dismiss the election charges, right?
You saying that a judge was a pro-Trump judge is factually inaccurate.
No. But that means
there is no
you're
such
saying
thing
politics
as a
wasn't. So politics wasn't involved in.
I don't think you understand. This is your point, not mine.
Right?
You said these judges were pro-Trump.
No, was politics involved in their decision? I'm saying if politics was involved, they were pro-Trump.
Yeah.
Was
politics involved in their decision?
Dismissing a case does not mean that the voter fraud didn't happen, as she just showed.
So if they thought that there was voter fraud in the country, do you think that they would have said, "Oh yeah, this is an important thing that we need to solve," or do you think they would have just said, "It's fine"? You think all 60 of the judges?
Not if their standard was there enough fraud to overturn the election?
You think all 60 judges just didn't want to pursue it?
I'm explaining to you.
I think the most important thing to remember here is we need to focus on joy, like the joy you felt when Joe Biden won.
That is not joy that I felt, actually. I hated it when Joe Biden.
Maga's always.
I was rooting for Trump to win.
I haven't heard anyone challenge whether or not censorship was a problem.
I will grant you that censorship was a problem, but censorship is a problem on all sides.
I feel like we've heard some.
He's lost it. He can't control the crowd. They go crazy in this, dude. This might be like the most. Oh, damn. Democracy Now. I got a Democracy Now notice, but not as like a independent media leftist, but as a donator. Because of my donations to Democracy Now, their major gifts officer emailed me and said, please reach out if he's ever in New York City and would like to schedule a visit to the studio. I would love to invite him to come into view a live broadcast. It's a great opportunity for donors to see how their support is making a difference. They have no idea who the fuck I am. That's so funny. Oh my God. Falling off? No, dude. Are you kidding me? Falling off. They're all 80 years old. They're like lifelong communists. Of course I don't know who the fuck I am. If I try to explain to Amy Goodman what Twitch streaming is, she would perish. Amy definitely knows you. She definitely does not know who I am, and that's a good thing.
We've heard some arguments from here. We have a clear disagreement between you two.
Obviously, censorship. I have too much cleavage, so censorship is alive and well.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing is, it's not like Trump won by lost by 8 electoral votes or 12. He got killed. It was not close.
He didn't just need Michigan.
He needed so many of the states. And the other thing is, guess who's winning in all this discussion that we're all having all these years about rigged elections? I have a friend that was in the CIA until 2022 that mostly dealt with Russia. And they said, Corey, they don't really care so much who's president. All they care about is the American people.
Yeah, bro, no, that's not a friend, okay? You met someone on Reddit who told you they're in the CIA. we've already established yesterday that Corey does not have friends. Okay, he has, as his moderating duties goes, you know, collaborators and also Redditors that must be purged from the subreddit.
Losing faith in their elections. That's what they want, and that's what's happening. And so we're losing, all of us are losing. The fact that other could be China, but all of them love that our institution of we're trusting our elections is getting destroyed. And the other thing is, no matter who wins in November, the other side is going to say the other side stole it, and the country is going to end. It's over. The country ends if Biden wins, or the country ends if Trump wins. We're in a really dangerous place. Regardless.
What happened in 2016 with Hillary? Everybody on the left was saying
I would agree with that.
But then shouldn't focus be in strengthening elections, things like voter ID laws?
Oh, totally. It should voter ID. I mean, that's obvious. I don't know why.
So if you agree that these laws should be passed to secure our elections, then if they're not passed, then our elections are unsecure.
Well, no,
right?
because Laura Trump is also promoting mail-in ballots now, right? Laura Trump said a few weeks ago.
It's because it's the law.
No, she said
the argument against mail-in ballots is so stupid. Trump uses mail-in ballots. Florida has mail-in ballots. Many Republican, like super diehard, plus 20 Republican red states have mail-in ballots. Okay? It is so stupid. It is so unimaginably stupid. Utah, where Lady MAGA is from, chatter is correct, has mail-in ballots.
That they should
it's because it's the law.
Do you believe that we should have voter ID?
So, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So we don't have that now, right?
But there are Democrat states that have that too.
So,
like New York has voter ID.
But if you think we should have voter ID, but we don't have it now, then by conclusion of logic, doesn't that mean our elections are insecure?
No. I mean, yes, but like not to a point where like it's to a point where like it can be investigated, right? Just because every state doesn't have voter ID, like it's still it's been the standard for years. Just because we have a better standard doesn't mean the old standard means that
our elections
the party
are insecure. But
I swear to God, every time I sneeze, my back hurts more. I think I like my back up more.
Don't think.
No. You think that the election is a conspiracy just because every state doesn't have voter ID? Is that what you're saying?
What's driving the lack of security is a conspiracy. Yes.
The lack of security is a conspiracy.
The lack of a reason, the motivation to push for.
This is so stupid, and here's why they're all wrong, because they're all conservative. And the difference between a Trump-style conservative and a regular old conservative is simply aesthetics. Why? Because all conservatives, including the professional conservatives that the media used to love and prop up as like normal conservatives, all the way from Paul Ryan to the dumbest, most psychopathic freak in the conservative Republican Party, they all have consistently run on, since the Paul Weyrich moral majority days, they've all consistently run on trying to limit access to voting, okay? This is a 40, 50, 60-year project of the Republican Party. Voter suppression has always been a conservative initiative in general, depending on where you were. It could have been the Dixiecrats that were trying to gatekeep voting and stop black people from voting, or now the modern Republican Party that is effectively trying to stop black, brown, poor people, young people from voting. Okay? The reason for why they do it is because they recognize that it is beneficial. If poor people don't vote, then Republicans are more likely to win. This upcoming election, the calculation will be a little different, but that's besides the point. Why did I bring up all of this? Why did I bring up all of this historical, this historical analysis in the situation? That's the reason why they're all in agreement. Although the argument itself is based, and this might come as a shocker to some of you, a faulty premise, a made-up issue, not a real problem. Okay, the American voting structure is very secure, okay? Unimaginably secure, as a matter of fact. And people have consistently tried to create evidence that there is a major issue with voting integrity and that there are fake voters or a litany of different complications in terms of like voting. The real issue has always been voter suppression, which is what the Republicans are doing. And in order to justify voter suppression, like calling, voter ID laws, closing polling stations in like black and brown neighborhoods, purging voters off the voter registry for a litany of different like minor complications, things that like, for example, the the Georgian governor at the time when he was the Secretary of State did is basically all the tech that the Republicans do in order to make voting as complicated and as hard as possible. One way to try and justify this voter suppression is by creating an issue. What is the issue? People are lying. People are fake voting. They're fake voters. People are stealing votes. There's a lot of voter fraud. Voter fraud has never been a real issue in the American electoral process. Never, especially not in contemporary American history, okay? It's not a real thing. It's not a real thing, and yet all of the normal Republicans and all of the MAGA Republicans all believe that it's a real issue, or at least present it as a real issue. That's not a real issue at all, however, okay? And the counter to this is pretty easy. It's just empirical evidence. Time and time again, Republicans and Democrats both have set up right-wing commissions, bipartisan commissions, investigations like the American Enterprise Institute's comprehensive investigation into voter fraud have shown that this is a laughable argument to make. The most famous one that the most famous study conducted on this, the most comprehensive investigation conducted on voter fraud that was supposed to prove once and for all that this is a significant problem in the United States of America, was conducted by the American Enterprise Institute. If I'm going to probably up the numbers here, okay? But I think the number that they arrived at was 1,200 total instances of voter fraud. Was it Heritage? Was it not the American Enterprise Institute? I keep messing that up. You know what? Let's look this up. I'm not gonna top dome it. Heritage Foundation voter fraud study. Maybe it is the A. Oh yeah, here it is. Here's a report from the Brennan Center for Justice on the Heritage Fraud Database, an assessment. 1,100 instances of voter fraud were found. The total number is, and here you can see it yourself, it is the Heritage Foundation Election Fraud Cases Report. The total number is 1,100 instances of voter fraud. Donald Trump's fraud commissions relied on the Heritage Foundation database. That is over like 30 years of elections. Okay? 30 years of elections. More than 1 billion votes cast. More than 1 billion. That's billions of votes cast with 1,100 proven cases of voter fraud. Okay? So the most famous study conducted on voter fraud found that there was like 0.0000001% of voter fraud happening. This amount of voter fraud could not even change the outcome of like a Los Angeles Council district member election. Okay, that's how minimal it is. What about the year 2000 election though, Florida? Yeah, that wasn't. There were inconsistencies in Florida, and of course the Republicans stole the election with the Republican governor Jeb Bush at the time handing off the election victory to his brother who was running for president. Not only is the entire voter fraud conversation completely fraudulent, the 1,100 proven cases of voter fraud isn't all Democrats. Most of the high-profile voter fraud incidents that have occurred in the past couple of election cycles have always been Republicans. So that's the other side of this that is really funny. Okay? Voter fraud isn't election fraud. Thank you. Voter fraud is supposed to be happening when Democrats get together and like steal people's ballots and, you know, scribble the Democratic ticket down the ballot, or when dead people vote, or, you know, like a person whose wife was dead votes on her behalf. Voter fraud, much like immigrant crime, is born out of Republican hysteria. Because they've been doing this for so long, even the smart MSNBC watching ass liberal adjacent guy is still like, yeah, voter fraud, it does happen sometimes. And yeah, we need to do voter ID for that reason.
for voter ID, to push for hand counts. We don't want to push for that because we want elections to be insecure.
Let me just say it this way.
Because they're rigged.
Counts, quote unquote, hand counts are disastrous. There was a case I just read about a few days ago where they tried to do a hand count for a local election for 50 votes, and it took them 6 hours in Arizona. There was a county in Arizona.
6 hours? Oh no!
That's not true. That's not true, by the way.
Let's hear the point.
Oh no!
I live in Arizona.
Let's just hear the point.
What are we gonna do?
It was for, I don't actually know. It was some state. I just read about it. You can probably fact check it afterwards. But,
even if it takes 24
there was 100 people.
Right.
I can tell you, because I'm a state delegate. I was in that race. 100 people ran for state delegate. Everyone had to rank. The top 43 got in. So the people who did the hand count not only had to count one person, they had to rank ordinally everyone. And it wasn't 6 hours. It took a couple of hours to get the hand count done.
There was a small local election, and there
was
LD12
votes. I'm telling you.
And they had recount after recount, and they actually mismatched like the amount of counts that they had. So I'm saying that, like, if you do hand counts, like, we have the technology. The technology is not inaccurate. If you do recounts, like, it's just going to cause more mass chaos.
The computers are always right.
You just agreed that our elections are insecure. I want you to think about what you just agreed about.
What are they talking about? They do recounts. Like, what's happening? They've done a shit ton of recounts.
All right. I think
voting is a Canadian.
We got it done?
Canadians do not use Dominion votings. They only use paper ballots because they recognize that any electronic system is going to be inherently insecure.
And you live in Alabama.
I've been told that I look like Justin Trudeau. All right, we're going to...
I don't know how you can ever claim to be a real Marxist and believe that our electoral process is legit. Come on, man. You are way smarter than that. Our elections are the same as picking Coke and Pepsi. Same shit. What the f are you talking about? That has nothing to do with, like, election integrity, though. That's an entirely separate problem that I address on a regular basis. We're not talking about that, chatter. We're talking about this within the confines of, like, Democrat versus Republican, okay? The elections are not fraudulent in the way that people understand it, okay? In the way that people claim it is. As a matter of fact, it has everything to do with election integrity. It's predetermined. Okay, clock sucker 420. No, dumbass. Given that we are living in the confines, within the confines of a bourgeois democracy, it doesn't really matter whether a Republican or a Democrat wins, right? Therefore, obviously, that proves the point that I'm making, which is that because there is no real revolutionary radical person out there, there's no reason to cook the books. So yeah, all that cooking of the book is nonsense.
Gonna reset. Have you ever wondered what it's like to be a spiritual advisor to somebody who's on death row?
No, I haven't.
Radical ruin democracy. Not. Will the agreeers please step forward?
You know what does undermine elections? The Electoral College? Yes. You know what undermines democracy? The Senate. You know what undermines democracy? Gerrymandering and redistricting that also makes even the House of Representatives less representative. Okay? You know what also undermines democracy? The Supreme Court. Perhaps getting a bunch of slave owner bourgeois individuals, that wanted to have a bourgeois revolution and wanted to maintain the same exact like hierarchy, just, under bourgeois dominated, quote unquote, theoretical liberal democracy was not going to cover all of our bases, especially at a time when black people had no vote. They were not even seen as people, and women couldn't vote either. Another very classic, very obvious, and taken for granted instance of voter suppression is holding elections on a Tuesday. It's literally during the work week. Okay? It's ridiculous. There's a reason for that. All of this stuff makes voting as inaccessible as possible. Anyway, let's continue.
It's kind of lonely up here, guys.
Ooh, we agree.
You're scared of us.
Anybody that goes up watches MSNBC.
I don't know if we're being recorded. I just want to go on record as saying that pure democracy is mob rule.
Let me lower the severity.
Yeah.
Let me lower the severity.
I'm going to come up and sit here for one reason.
Because I'm a psycho.
Democracy.
I can't wait. He just loves the camera. He just loves the spotlight. That's it. That's why he came up.
In its purest form, is mob rule. We are a constitutional republic. So if you want to consider Trump destroying this idea of democracy that the Democrats and the left constantly pour out, we have to remember that democracy is mob rule. Donald Trump is pro-Constitution of the United States and thus does not tout democracy, 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 because that's farcical. So I sort of agree with that. I want to destroy the rhetoric that's all about democracy and start talking about that we are a constitutional republic. So that's kind of, you know, sort of agreed, sort of disagreed.
Thank you, Lady Maga. Yeah. All right, if I change the word from ruined to weakened, who would come forward? And you can come forward.
That's a little better. I feel, do you want me to start?
No, you got it.
I feel like, let's just call Trump what he really is. Kind of like me, you know, he's a great actor and he has a lot of charisma and he's really good at giving the people.
Gosh, she's so annoying. She's just like, God, she is repulsive, dude. Holy shit.
And he's selling them. He's kind of like.
She's not like, she thinks she's that, but she ain't, you know?
A used car salesman, if you will, right? Like he has this great zest to like make this POS look fabulous. And he does it to the heart of America, who's what demographic is that? And going back to that question, would we have this issue and was it going to be violent when they stormed the Capitol? He's talking to this very small group of people who don't have much going for themselves. They go to work, they're 9-to-5ers, they are working factory jobs. I'm not trying to be mean, I'm just saying these are the demographics, the people that make America great again. Like that's what they live for. And Donald Trump gave them that gift of, yes, this POS, we know it's not good. That's Donald, but we're gonna jump on this bandwagon because you know why? People want one thing in life. They want to feel significant. And he makes people who, dare I say, aren't significant, feel significance. And when you have that need for significance in your life, people do crazy things like storm the Capitol because it makes them feel like they're alive, like they're a part of something.
But are you saying—
And that is ruining, I think, what people would idolize as real Republicans or conservatives, democracy and values and integrity, a word that we can't put synonymous with that.
Can I ask you a follow-up? You know, so you're saying he has the ability to make people who vote for him feel significant. Do you think that's a trait that inherently weakens democracy, or it's how he used it?
I think it's how he used it, because we all need a little bit of significance in order to feel like I'm good enough to get in my car and drive down here and meet with other people and have this talk. But when you do crazy things like what we know happened on January 6th, that's when significance goes overboard. And I believe he's great at manipulating people. Look at him on The Apprentice. He was a star. People loved him. They lived for "you're fired." And it was this caricature, this larger than life creator. The problem was he became his character in real life, in IRL, as my son says. And that's what he takes into the office. And he is a lunatic. He says whatever he wants to say. It doesn't mean he's honest. He just has no couth. And he thinks he's above the law. And that is why he's not, or was it hindering democracy? What was the word?
Weakened.
Weakening. Whatever you think to add to that, dear.
Yeah, so that was great. I mean, that's a good start. But I would just say, first of all, saying that Trump weakened democracy, to go back to a previous point, doesn't mean that I don't have conservative values. I think it means that I value my values more than the person. I think the thing that Trump did, which weakened democracy the most, was that he changed politics from a battle over values to a battle over person. And when
media
people idolize.
Yeah. The battle over values. Didn't you watch this yesterday? I watched half of it yesterday. Everyone's a liberal. Yeah. What values? Like, what are we talking about?
Idolize values, then they do things to make those values appear in a society.
Yeah.
They always frame direct democracy as a mob rule. Why is that? Because that's just what America is about. That's what they've said from the jump. The tyranny of the majority, they say, which is just democracy. You just don't want democracy.
People idolize a person, then who knows what happens?
Just attention.
For example, when Trump, when Trump was tweeting or truthing, I guess, about the FISA bill, he tweeted 2 words, and it was gonna pass, right? And then it did eventually pass, but it had to go through a lot more work to do so. He tweeted, "Kill FISA," and that's all it took for the MAGA wing of the House to come around and come and join him. Like, he only has to say 2 words. And then, so yes,
They
do
follow
I
him,
think
like-
do I think our democracy is strong? Do I think our democracy will survive Trump? Yes, I hope so. I believe so. And I'm a young American. You know, I don't really know how this is going to work out, but I have faith in our institutions. I think we do have the best. I think we do have the best country in the world, right?
Well, a lot of people
Regardless of who's in
disagree
charge.
with that, though. I've traveled, I've been to 30-some countries. My
I
son's
would
been to 15. When we go there,
100%.
they are embarrassed of us because of Trump.
Right.
And I'm embarrassed to admit I'm an American when I'm traveling abroad. You know where I say I'm from when I'm abroad? I say Hollywood. I'm from Hollywood. And they're, oh, you're Hollywood? But if I say the United States, they're like, oh, Trump. It's embarrassing.
I'm not embarrassed.
Can I ask you a
Yeah,
follow-up?
sure.
You know, you said Trump made it less about values, more about person. When you look back on history, do you see any other presidents who had a similar following?
Americans are so stupid. This is one of the most like glaring, obvious examples of how like liberal capitalist democracy has completely nullified class politics, or just like completely mystified class, but also just mystified politics in general. Any conversation about values is so idiotic. Politics is not about values, man. It's about power. Okay, it's about who gets to have the power. It's about who gets to do the violence. It's about who gets the distribution of resources. That's it. That's it. What is this value talk? No, it is just about resource distribution. That's all politics is. But in the United States of America, we're just like, oh, what about the value? What about this? What about that? Like, no, value is just seasoning. Are you not value-tained? I mean, I wish I was more value-tained.
Or do you think he set that standard?
I think that as far as being a personality, we've never had someone that made it as much of a centerpiece of their campaign as Donald Trump has. I think Donald Trump coming off of TV as a personality really made that the centerpiece of his campaign. I mean, he came down the golden escalator. I mean, he had all these, soundbite moments at the beginning, like Mexicans are sending their worst. They're, bringing crime. They're rapists, whatever.
Mexican.
And I know you're gonna say like it's not every Mexican, and I agree with you. It's misquoted, but still, like it's a soundbite. Like it's a really punchy soundbite, and he made it about him and what he said instead of what he stood for. And so I think if you ask a lot of Trump's supporters, they don't even really know what he stands for. They just know that he's a charismatic guy.
As a new reviewer, is that your cynicism or a valid hard point? You think me saying politics is about resource distribution and power distribution is cynicism? No, that's just facts. What else would it be? That's the entire history of the planet. That's just a fact. But I mean, it's understandable. It's understandable to be confused when I say that if you're an American, right? Or if you're like living in the Western world and you maybe think that like, no, it's about values. It's about the things that politicians mention. It's like, no, it's not. It's just power distribution. It's power and resource. Yeah. It's about control over resources, who gets to have it and who gets to have the power, who gets to do the violence. That's definitionally what politics is.
That is conservative and they are conservative. And so they just, kind of go with what he says because he's so charismatic that like, like for example, he's talking about the other day, he was talking about the Battle of Gettysburg in Gettysburg with people. And these people are pretty well educated, I would say, on like the things that happen around them. He just goes on a ramble for 2 minutes and you can see the crowd behind him. They have no reaction. It's clear that he has no idea what he's talking about. He makes up a quote from Robert E. Lee in an Irish accent and then like nothing happened.
Okay, that was goated. You're so wrong. Never fight uphill, me boys. Wow. Robert E. Lee. Wow. That was a banger.
And so he doesn't get any repercussions for that. They just go along with him. He's like, Gettysburg. Wow. Like
he's an actor.
He's an actor.
A charismatic
he does a great
salesman.
job of getting people on his side through doing everything while doing nothing.
Okay. Thank you. I admittedly got us a little off topic. We're talking about Trump has weakened democracy. Disagreeers, will you come in?
Kevin Trudeau, Joel Osteen, a little bit. Have you heard that? Joel Osteen?
Oh, you think I look like Joel?
That's a new one.
So you mentioned Trump has weakened democracy because he turned politics into all about personality and attacks rather than policies. I think the reason why you think that is that you are 19. Because as someone who was older, I remember when Mitt Romney was running and it was all about, he said binders full of women. He put his...
Wait, what? Yeah, those are just attack ads. What are you talking about? Those are just like attacks against a person who quite literally is like the same thing happened to Obama as well. The gray suit, saying that his favorite type of mustard, or putting gray poupon or whatever, like, or Dijon mustard on a hot dog. Those are just ways to try and make your political opponent, or not the gray suit, tan suit. Those are ways to try and make your political opponent look, in the case of Obama, either really fancy and elitist with the Dijon mustard instead of the yellow mustard, or with the tan suit, make him, you know, seem, how do I explain this? Or the birtherism effete, sure. With respect to like Mitt Romney was shown as an elitist individual, which he was, and those stories made him look like a goofy ass
dog in a car, in a crate on the car, and we almost had the inverse with Barack Obama. He's so dreamy. He represents hope and change and good things. This isn't a Donald Trump problem. This is a politics problem. And I also think we can't talk about how Trump has been harsh with the media and his opponents without also including how they have treated him. He's been called a white supremacist, a bigot, XYZ, before you know, any of these other stories came to the headlines. From the start, 2016, he was being smeared, as were his supporters, as alt-right racists. I know because I remember this. This was before, you know, they had the excuse of Stormy Downs or whatever. From the start, there was an aggressive campaign against him from the media that has absolutely set the tone for how he, in turn, treats journalists. I think he's not mean enough, frankly. I hate journalists, but I don't think it's fair to say this started with Trump. If anything, he's merely a symptom of a problem that's existed, I would say, almost forever.
Why did they say he's racist? Because Stormy is white. She's white as white can be.
Why did you call him a white supremacist?
I asked her.
You have no credibility to discuss
I asked
race.
a question.
You said I am not black because I'm up here.
You
got offended because I said you have the Jezebel spirit.
I asked, and
so I just answered your question.
Samson, you have an earring, and does Jesus approve of that? Isn't that in the Bible? That men are not supposed to have.
I think you two are.
Anyway, can I ask?
It's not in the Bible.
I asked her a legitimate question.
Okay, so rewind. What's the question?
They jumped in with their Thomas spirit. So can I ask you?
It is cool that he has the fuckboy earring. Honestly.
Why did they say that he was? I'm a pastor's daughter. I can quote the Bible probably as much as you can. No. All right, because they're talking. Can you tell them to stop talking so I can please? Why do they call him a racist?
They call him a racist because they're lying fearmongers who want to manipulate the populace into being afraid that he's going to round up brown people and deport them. That's the actual reason. Now, the official reason for why they call him a racist is because he's actually taking a hardline stance against illegal immigration, which is not a racist or xenophobic position to have.
It's more than just illegal immigration, though, because he's actually closing the border to more than just the people that he's afraid of coming in, which are the terrorists that are coming from the Middle East and the cartels that are coming up from the south.
Who is he closing the border
China.
to? Who is he closing the border to?
Pretty much the entirety of Mexico and the entirety of Iraq, Afghanistan, Iran, Jordan even. Like, we had a whole bunch of people that were trying to come in that were literally refugees, and we couldn't even look after them.
Is this a problem? Wait, you don't need to sell me on Trump.
Dude, oh my God, MAGA Republicans are like, they're awesome.
I already support him.
I think plenty of people from Iran and Iraq is a great idea. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, and understand this.
He's like, don't you understand? I'm racist.
There was something called the Third Country Act, which has been completely violated under this current administration. If you were a refugee, you were to go over to the third safest country. We have people coming here from China now, and you should know as well as I know, the Chinese Communist Party doesn't just let people leave. We've got military-age men infiltrating our country. We've got
What? Did she just say the Communist Chinese Party doesn't let people leave? Lady, you're in California. What are you saying right now? Like, it is, I would say it's like hard not to find a Chinese person to investigate this matter personally in a state like California, in Los Angeles. Like, what are you? I guess she's trying to say that, like, China is like shipping everyone here, including like the rich kids who go to school here, but that is so weird. That is so weird, bro. That is so odd. Like, how are you so stupid? Guys, saying that the Chinese Communist Party doesn't let people leave China and come to America, implying that like the only people that come here are like secretly being sent here by the government, is no different than saying that about Norway. Okay, I'm just going to use a white nation right off the bat that is in the sphere of influence of America, so that like everybody understands. Like it literally, there is voluntary freedom of movement as long as you can, you know, secure the paperwork between both nations. That's ridiculous. And it's also extra ridiculous because like she's making it seem like every Chinese tourist, every Chinese person is an agent of the CCP that's here to spy. Like, how can you live like that? How can you unironically live like that? I'd be going crazy. Like, there's no way she believes this, right? Because ultimately, the level of fear that you operate with in any given moment would cause me to kill myself. I would have a aneurysm. Like, she walks past a Chinese restaurant and just dies. Think about all of the CCP spies that are there.
NGOs down in the Panama Darien Gap. I've got a friend.
This is why I always laugh, by the way, when people say like Hasan wanted re-education camps. How do you deal with that lady? Like, you have to rehabilitate that person. Like, you have to literally sit her ass down and just be like, listen, I'm sorry to do this, but like, you're kind of crazy. We need to do a lot of therapy right now. Like that doesn't make sense. Like, we have to re-educate that person unironically. And there are a lot of people like that. Like, you have to forcibly put her in a diverse environment, in a diverse learning environment, mandatory state mandated therapy sessions. Like, that's crazy.
Ben Berkwam, who makes that journey all the time. Women, children, it's not okay.
Sounds like Trump.
Can I just interject?
Yeah, but
Sounds like
that had
Trump.
nothing to do with
You're
Trump.
not a Republican.
Can I just interject? Like,
Thank you for telling me what I am.
As far as to like the military age men thing, with people coming across the border being military age men, like they're also, you can say they're military age men. I know that's something that Dr. Phil
Lake and
goes on
Riley.
about. No, they are military
Lake and
age.
Riley.
But okay, that's one example. How many people?
That's one example?
How many
That's
people?
Yeah, it is. That is exactly. If we're talking about murder rates, yes, that is ridiculous. You are, once again, utilizing an anecdote, an emotional one, specifically to try to drive home an argument. Yeah, narratively speaking, it might be good for your side of the conversation, but yes, that is an example of a singular murder. Okay? That's ridiculous. You have to look at, when we're talking about broad swaths of the population, when we're talking about the entire scope, the entire country, 330 million Americans live on U.S. soil, 12 million undocumented migrants plus, right? 12 million plus undocumented migrants. The reason why we cannot operate off of one singular anecdote, no matter how well it suits the argument here, is because that's not how this works. You have to look at actual data. And the data has shown consistently, okay? The data has shown consistently that undocumented migrants are responsible for less crime per capita than natural-born U.S. citizens. That's crazy. That is actually crazy. This is just reactionary thinking for the most part. This is how they operate. This is how reactionary people operate. It's like pointing to a trans person that has done a crime to be like, yeah, see, they're all files. That's not how this works at all. You can't do that. You have to look at the actual broader data.
Finish a thought.
Can I talk, please? How many people come
on the immigration front? Another incredibly funny argument is that immigrants are bringing drugs over the border. 94% of apprehensions occur at regular points of entry, okay? And the majority of the people that are trafficking the drugs are not undocumented migrants. The overwhelming majority are actually documented U.S. citizens. Why the would people try to traffic fentanyl? Like, what's more likely? The question I always ask is this, okay? What's more likely that you want to bring in a ton, like 1 metric ton of fentanyl over the border? What's going to be easier? Get an American that works with the cartel to put the drugs inside of their Honda Civic, like inside of, like, you know, specifically cut out parts of their Honda Civic, or is it going to be easier to shove it in the bosom of an abuela crossing the border illegally? Okay. How do you traffic all of that, all those drugs? Well, you don't even need to think about it like that, because the empirical evidence, once again, unfortunately goes against the completely idiotic argument that these dumbasses are making. Drugs do not get shipped by and large and trafficked across the border in the pockets of abuelas that are trying to cross the border so they can go and pick pick guacamole is what I was going to say. Pick avocados, okay? It's being smuggled in ships. It's being smuggled in mass quantities over the border in regular points of entry, inside of the cars, inside of the vehicles of American citizens who are infinitely less likely to be stopped by Border Patrol.
That are in America also commit those same crimes. Far
They're
more.
Americans.
It doesn't matter.
It
they
does
still commit
matter.
the crimes.
I know, but if someone shouldn't be here in the first place.
Can I go back to what my point was? Saying that you have military-age men coming across the border does not mean that they're here to do some sort of military operation. The people who are coming across the border that are military-age men are also working-age men that are supporting their families on the other side of the border. Should they be coming across the border?
But if there are 5,000 to 10,000 of them, they could undermine the entire country.
You think every single illegal immigrant?
I did not say that. If there are only 5,000 to 10,000 of them,
you think back to the
we're pretty deep into immigration right now.
Yeah.
But like,
and I've talked to Brandon Judd about this.
Let's focus back
on.
I'd like to respond to her.
We've got time for 2 more comments on why Trump has or has not weakened democracy.
So my issue with how
we haven't heard Travis.
Okay, so my issue with how the argument was framed from you two, sorry to say,
that's all right,
is that Trump isn't the issue. The issue is the decline in religiosity in America, and also the proponent of ideologies that are typically atheist, which is the rise of socialism here in America. So you have all of these different socialist factions that are trying to come up and take over the country, basically. We see the rise of Marxism, like absolutely crazy.
Absolutely.
We see fascist individuals. I know some. It's not pretty.
Scary. I do as well. It's wild.
And especially when I ask them what their specific policies are, some of them are
I want to know where the rise of socialism is happening in America. Like, where? I wish, bro. What reality are these guys on? Where are the Marxists, man? In the words of Zizek, where are the Marxists?
Absolutely proponents for socialism.
Yeah.
So I, again, cannot abide any of that whatsoever. I don't see Trump as being a proponent for either Marxism or fascism in any sort of sense of the word, but he isn't going to be the main figure for why the left is so far gone as it has been.
Agreed. But
I agree.
No, other people are going to speak. Could I please respond to her allegations and characterizations
Well, no,
of
just
Trump
say,
supporters?
can you stay on that topic, though?
No, this is on the topic. You came in and you brought it up, and you called us 9-to-5ers.
I didn't call you. I said middle
No, you
America.
said Trump supporters.
Is that a bad thing?
No.
Oh, so you're responding.
I'm responding to exactly what.
Once again, liberalism has taken over this panel. I'm triggered. Are you being classist? Are you being classist right now? Excuse me. You're a MAGA Trump Republican. What are you talking about? You don't give a about the working class. What is happening?
The type of person that Trump connects with.
The way you characterized Trump support. You didn't say me, but you did say people who stand for Trump. I'm Lady MAGA.
Actually, I didn't say that.
Let's let Lady MAGA.
If people at home rewind a little bit and listen to what she said.
Yeah.
So basically, I just want you to know, je parle français. Yo hablo español. I lived in Africa, Ecuador, France. I've lived around the world. I know you're fancy. You're not a 9-to-5er. I just want to tell you, girl, do not stereotype.
I'm from poverty,
I'm talking, honey.
We need to we need to hear this point out.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you.
Go ahead. Your
So I
mascara's
just
running
want
a little
you.
bit.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm sweating like a sinner in church.
I don't know why she keeps saying, he keeps saying, I lived in Africa, like as though it's a nation. Like the nation of Africa.
I know how that feels.
All right, get to your point.
I was trying. Can I talk now?
You have to stop.
I know, but she just needs to get to the point. It's
I'm
like dragging on and on.
No, I'm being very succinct.
Okay,
actually.
I just have a hard time listening.
Jezebel,
I'm
please.
sorry. Go ahead.
All right.
Bro, if you're gonna call me, you have to call them too.
Well, you called him a white supremacist.
I just want to hear.
Okay, he's got Riz though. That's why he's like, hey, how about you shut the up and let the big dog talk? Let the big dog talk.
Lady Maga, finish the
prompts.
sentence, and then we're going to move to the
I'm
next
going
one.
to finish the sentence. The MAGA Trump supporting community is the most intelligent and diverse community I have ever known in my life. Thank you.
Awesome. Great.
All right, let's reset.
Can I just do one?
No, we're going to reset. Our next prompt. If Trump loses, January 6th will be repeated. Can the agreeers please step forward?
Come over to your side for once.
Why'd you hesitate?
I hesitated because I don't think that it will be violent and uncontrolled like it was last time, and I hesitate to even say if he'll call as large of a crowd as he did last time. There were a lot of flaws in Capitol security, whether it being, we can all agree Nancy Pelosi should have had Capitol security at the Capitol on January 6th. I don't think anyone thought it would reach that level, but she still should have been cautious. I think they will have the.
This guy definitely watches MSNBC, 100%. Anyone who says that Trump loses January 6th will be repeated is just like perma MSNBC tip. Okay, like he is invested in the narrative. Okay, January 6th was hilarious. You got to admit, no, it was awesome. I love January 6th. What do you mean? I have literally dressed up pretty much every single January 6th since January 6th to celebrate the occasion. Here's the thing. I wish there would be another January 6th. That'd be hilarious. That'd be great content. Mossad did January 6th. Okay, bro. Like, sure. Listen, if Mossad did January 6th, it would probably be a little bit better. It would be a little bit more competent. Although Mossad has also fallen off a bit in comparison to, in comparison to all of the
additional precautions this time, and I don't think it will get out of hand like it did last time. But at the same time, the passion that you saw on January 6th doesn't really go away in 4 years. And if people see another election, at this point, the rhetoric, I feel like, from MAGA is that if we lose, it's rigged. For example, you had the...
Can't attack Mossad? No, dumbass. The reason why I banned him is because it's idiotic, and it makes it... It's the classic dumbass argument. Like, everything is the Jews. Everything is Israel, and everything is Mossad is akin to saying everything is the Jews. Okay, that's why I banned that chatter, because it objectively was not Mossad. That chatter probably was trying to serve the top of the hour ad break. Now that I think about it, but GG's for him. At the top of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break. If you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe for $5 or for free with the Twitch Prime by connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account. Here's the 3-minute ad break now.
The Secretary of State candidate for Arizona in 2022 saying that if a Republican, or if a county didn't vote Republican, then like throw it out, there's something wrong. Like, that's not...
There's nothing funnier than Marjorie Taylor Greene talking about how the election was rigged when she was on the same ticket and won. I think there's a video out there where they asked her about it, where they were like, what do you mean the election was rigged? Like, so do you think that you like won illegally? It's such a funny, it's such a funny moment where it's like, but you were on the ballot.
And obviously he's an extreme example. I'm assuming most MAGA people don't feel that extremely, but you don't need that many people with that opinion to have a January 6th event. So there was just a few hundred.
January 6th won't happen again because 1,000 people were arrested after January 6th. January 6th can only happen if the HVAC business owners, with a lot to lose, mind you, have a sense of entitlement and a sense of privilege. The American fascist movement is nowhere near as well organized as it would be necessary for them to like actually do a successful insurrection. That's number one. They would also have to have, not have all their needs met. They would have to suffer from economic volatility. As long as the middle class, the upper middle class especially, as long as the small business owners are like relatively comfortable, they will only do this as a tourism opportunity. That's precisely the problem with January 6th, is that the people that were rising up and doing this insurrection were mostly held together by their admiration for Donald Trump and had a lot to lose, and also had a massive sense of entitlement that the law in their minds, and you know, it's the law in their minds, and there's a good reason for them to feel this way, was on their side. That's why they were like, why aren't you helping us? Okay. They were shocked that they got actual legal scrutiny for their actions that were obviously illegal. Now that they know that you can't do some like that and not go to jail, they're not going to do it again. That's why you see way less people at these sorts of events too. That and the fact that the Republican Party shut off the astroturfing for Donald Trump after January 6th. They might bring it back. They might bring it back when Trump is like obviously the candidate, and they might still do astroturfing, but will they astroturf so that there's a riot? I doubt it, because that opens them up to legal scrutiny as well, like Turning Point USA and whatnot. That's why Charlie Kirk and everyone else very quickly removed their associations with January 6th in the immediate aftermath when everyone was anti-January 6th, only to come back to it and be like, oh, these are hostages, these are patriots, when Donald Trump also changed his attitude as well.
In 2021 that stormed the Capitol, which you say just a few hundred, but it's a small building. I mean, it's, you know, I've been inside the Capitol. The chambers are not that big, not as big as they appear on the TV. So it only takes a small few to set it off.
I agree with what you said. I think the reason why I step forward is just because we know from our experience as a great nation that history does one thing. It repeats itself. And so I would say, like, I probably agree with you and say the magnitude of it might not be as insane, it might not be as intense, but I feel like there will still be people that want to feel significant in their life that day, and they have their leader, Donald Trump, this great charismatic actor guy who's like leading them and make America great, and they're going to feel this energy, this surge that's like going to have them to follow in the footsteps that they did. Or maybe if they weren't there in January 6th, if they had FOMO, and so now
yeah.
they want to.
I think we. I won't go that far. I think I want to be respectful to people who still support Trump, in that I was a Trump supporter. And I feel like if I hadn't gotten off the train when I did after the 2020 election, you know, in the lead up to January 6th and around that time, I would still kind of be in that area because Trump's policies were good. I didn't really have a problem with a lot of his policies. But at the same time, we have to respect, like, there are people that will, you know, choose the policies over Joe Biden. And I respect that. I think that that's, you know, so if you're choosing the policies and you're behind the man, and the man that you respect and he has your policies says something, you know, even like leading up to January 6th, it wasn't like out of my mind that like the people that were, you know, rejecting the election results were just terrible people. I still don't think they're terrible people. I think they're just, you know, like representing an electorate that says that the election was rigged, even though it's clearly not true. I mean, I think that you just have to respect the MAGA wing and say that, like, it's not the people that are wanting to feel important, it's that they're being led by a madman.
Okay, well, let's bring in our
And not everyone who was there shared that value. Like, not all Trump supporters would do that. So I think it's important to not lump everyone in with those 100 and some people that were there, because that's not fair either, because I don't think any of these guys would be there, but I could be wrong.
Actually, I was going to go to January 6th, and we just didn't go. And we were going...
Yeah, sure you didn't go.
Oh, you wanted to attend?
Yeah, but we were going to the rally. I actually have a very good friend that did attend. After the speech at the Ellipse, he went back to his hotel room. He's a black actor from Hollywood. He ran for the state assembly. He's the vice chair of the Los Angeles GOP. And so he went back to his hotel room, saw MSNBC on the television saying, oh, it's a very somber moment. He said, I was just with those people. Right. He went out, he had a good time. He didn't see any of the bad stuff happen.
So he didn't enter the Capitol?
Hold on.
Okay.
Sing the national anthem.
Cliffhanger.
The police were there. They kind of waved him along. He stood in the threshold of the Capitol for 71 seconds, and he's facing 3 years in prison, nonviolent.
Because he walked in.
Yeah, but he
Guilty
didn't.
by association, I guess, is probably. I'm not saying
Again, this is not America.
Yeah.
This is not America. We have had a man in jail now for 4 years.
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest. You probably shouldn't have done a litany of crimes, okay, in broad daylight, live on 4K on television, and also on every social media platform. Like, I'm not even saying like, oh, don't do the crime, you can't do the time. Like, it's fine to do the crime. Just like if you do it in broad daylight, what is your expectation? Like, you filmed yourself doing a litany of crimes. It would be objectively ridiculous if law enforcement didn't do anything about that. Okay? Like, if they caught you on 11 different angles from everyone else's phone camera footage, like, yeah, you're gonna probably go to jail. The agency apprehended him at Hollywood Burbank Airport, reportedly returning with his wife from Nashville, where the couple attended the premiere of Daily Wire's new film, The Lady Ballers. He was taken into custody on misdemeanor charges, including trespassing, disorderly conduct, parading or demonstrating in a Capitol building, and he was held in jail overnight. Wait, this can't be the person. Didn't she say he's in jail? Like, they gave him like 30 years or something? A 71-second video shared by Masquoi on Saturday appears to show him holding up his phone to record or stream a video among a dozen other protesters. With some of, oh, she said 3 years. With some with their faces covered, wearing Trump 2020 hats, crowded at the threshold of a door at the Capitol. Those are the Capitol police officers, many in riot gear, filled the hallway and appear to be trying to get the Trump supporters out of the building. Some of those videos are in the video are saying they're trying to leave but are blocked by the crowd. Yeah, she probably is like, I mean, I assume if they nabbed his ass, he most likely either A, did something crazy, or B, was an organizer. And we do not know if he's actually going to jail for 3 years so far. So, but the people that got on January 6th, with the 1,000 that were arrested and convicted, were convicted for either organizing it or doing something like obviously illegal. Because there were way more people than 1,000 people at January 6th. It is also ironically one of the probably most mass surveilled instances of crime, only because they all were personally filming it. So, like, you know, it took a while. Authorities raided Mascoi's North Hollywood home because of his associations on a social media app. A law enforcement source said at the time, Mascoi posted on Instagram after the raid, "I did nothing wrong on the 6th, did nothing violent." Yeah.
Lane, I believe his last name is, no trial. He's in solitary confinement for 4 years. That is not America. That's not the America I want to live in. Also, tapes that have come up since January 6th, we know now that there were...
We pay for those buildings. What's wrong with smashing some windows? We pay for those buildings, though. Is it not bad precedent to say what happens when everyone figures out that voting is a joke? Dude, are you a MAGA communist? Because you're coming across like you're a little bit of a MAGA communist. Brother, you're looking at like a failed petite bourgeois, reactionary, lumpen proletariat, fascist, fake insurrection, and trying to defend it and claiming that it's a bad precedent. Okay? No, it is not a bad precedent. Because if a socialist militia, a well-organized social militia did that, they would have shot and killed them anyway. Okay? If push comes to shove and that moment arises when there's like a real revolutionary insurrection, it doesn't matter. It'll be met with violence regardless. Okay? Anyone that claims that it's bad to prosecute Republicans for stuff like this because they'll come after us too is completely oblivious that they are coming after people who they perceive to be a threat already on the socialist side. It is ridiculous.
Conditions shot into the crowd, which I think incited the violence.
We will never vote our way out of this. January 6th was a total show trial. What are you saying? You're not black-pilled. I think your brain is broken.
Nobody asked, where's the pipe bomber?
So it sounds like you're saying there are some problems with January 6th.
I'm saying that there's things. It was not an insurrection. No one was armed. It was a protest.
You don't think anyone was armed?
Okay, there were people armed, if I can just interject.
Okay, I don't think that's tangible to the conversation, because what you're saying here is that my answer, it kind of feeds into this, because what I think is...
I don't care voting Trump. Okay, have fun with that. It's not going to be good for you, no matter what you think, okay? You're in the Twitch chat, I suspect. And I mean this with no disrespect, Trump's policies are probably not going to be beneficial for you, as you are probably not a part of the top 1% of wealth in this country. You are not an owner of a corporation. You are not an owner of a business or one that is like significant enough, large enough to benefit from Trump's deregulation. You will be on the receiving end, as we all will, in many ways, okay? And I say myself included because I will suffer from deregulation as well, even though I will benefit most likely from Trump's tax cuts, given my financial status. I will still obviously lose out in the long run from all of the deregulation. You're going to get deported, bro? I don't think so. I think I would probably voluntarily leave before I get deported.
If you want to find out if January 6th is going to happen again, ask the FBI.
Yes.
Right.
Okay. They were
no, explain.
Well, explain this. Christopher Wray refuses the FBI.
I love this argument because they're like simultaneously saying January 6th was good, but also if it was bad, it was because of FBI psyops.
FBI director refuses to tell us how many FBI agents he had in the crowd on January 6th.
That was a hearing.
Now, I have reason to believe it was in the hundreds. Yeah. And including
What's your reason?
Including criminal informants.
What's your reason?
Court hearing,
yeah.
testimony,
hearings, footage,
yeah.
and the fact that there were so many people who were, hey, who's this guy? Not identified, not facing charges.
Yeah,
why?
was he a
criminal informant? So I have reason to believe
Connect
that.
the dots for me.
Yeah, so the dots are connected is the FBI and helped orchestrate FBI as a false flag, not only to impugn the First Amendment rights of Trump supporters, but also to build yet another case.
Ground fact check. Not only the Ray Ebbs, the man at the center of the Capitol riot conspiracy, sue Fox News for accusing him of being an FBI agent, leading to death threats and harassment, but he was also sentenced to 1 year of probation for his involvement in the riot. You can read through highly credible articles coming across from the political spectrum reporting on this for the full story on what Epps has maintained to be a baseless claim.
Case against Donald Trump.
And
So
listen, buddy, the one FBI guy who was a confidential informant for the FBI suspiciously was arrested the night before January 6th. You could have said, hey, you know, the FBI had a involvement in this. They had a hand in this. And, you know, maybe to a certain degree, they were there to agitate. But the one FBI guy was arrested ahead of time, suspiciously.
Trump supporter wanted to hear the debate on the floor.
So when you look at those
wanted
images,
the debate
I
on the
just
floor.
want to be super clear on what you're arguing. When you look at the images from January 6th, people in the Capitol, you're saying you believe that hundreds of those people are FBI.
I'm saying that there were, I have reason to believe that there were not only FBI agents, but FBI informants in the crowd. And the FBI, by their own admissions, refused to talk about that. And that is a further proof of
You're saying they're pretending to be Trump supporters storming the Capitol.
There was only
I have to interject.
Yeah, there were thousands.
No, I have to interject with a prime example of what happened on January 6th. I'm from Utah. There's a Black Lives Matter terrorist named John Sullivan.
Correct.
He was there, next to Ashley Babbitt.
Correct.
He was in the crowd wearing MAGA gear, causing mayhem, breaking windows.
Wait, hold on. Well, no fact check must be true, by the way. So does that mean that like we should arrest all of the January 6ers then? Because like they're all fake, they're phony, they're not real Trump Republicans. Which one is it? Which one is it? I like that he's so racist. He was like, you know, January 6th, the black guy did it. Looking at a sea of like hot dog, potato sack looking white HVAC business owners and real estate moguls trying to go up the steps of the Capitol in a sea of white, pointing to the one black guy, be like, that black guy, that's trouble. The anti-establishment activist who shot the video of Ashley Babbitt's death was ordered into government custody after his conviction. A man who claimed to be a journalist and a supporter of the Black Lives Matter movement was convicted Thursday on all charges against him in connection with the January 6, 2021 riot at the U.S. Capitol. John Earl Sullivan, a 29-year-old from Utah, also known as Jaden X, was convicted of 7 counts after just a few hours of deliberation by the jury. Federal prosecutors requested that Sullivan be taken into custody until his sentencing, and a U.S. District Court Judge Royce C. Lambert ordered him to be remanded, according to court records. The charges included felony obstruction of an official proceeding and civil disorder. I was only observing, Sullivan said in his trial testimony. I followed the crowd. I'm there to document. Well, the government said that shooting a video was just a ploy for Sullivan and played a video after him urging on the mob on January 6th. I'm going to side with anyone who's ready to rip this down, Sullivan said in one quote cited by the prosecutors. I brought my megaphone to instigate, he said in another video, adding that he wanted to make those Trump supporters up. That's the one chatter. That's the one chatter who was the one chatter that was like, I'm black-pilled. We got to burn it down. I like that he was literally on the megaphone being like, hello, I'm here to do crimes. According to his wiki, his brother's a right-wing grifter. That's not surprising. He seems to be like another one of those like delusional weirdos. Also, I like that he said, I'm here to incite violence. According to Legal Code 13A-6, I am here to violently engage in rhetoric to incite a riot in order to disrupt a legal process from continuing. Hassan, you got to quit zinning. Sucking on Nick. Try your homies instead. Sucking cock is a safe alternative to the consumption of nicotine products. Ejaculated semen is shown to have several beneficial nutrients. Hashtag trade Nick for dick. The real cost. Yeah, I think I'm going to keep sucking on nicotine. His brother, James Sullivan, is a right-wing activist with ties to the Proud Boys. Black Lives Matter activist from Salt Lake City says Sullivan exploited black people, profited off our pain, and hurt the movement. This is awesome.
No inciting violence.
1,000 Trump Republicans arrested, okay? 1,000 Trump Republicans arrested on January 6th. Trump and every other Republican is calling them heroes now. And this freak is still like, well, there was one black guy with indecipherable politics. And I guess everybody listened to him, and he's the only, it's the one black guy that made these 1,000 God-fearing patriots fly to Washington, D.C. to up, continue. He masterminded the whole thing.
And he was with, okay, I'm talking, girl. I'm talking. Thank you.
Oh,
so long story short,
so
he sold his footage to CNN. Later, they found out that he was an infiltrator. We have no idea how many of those alleged Trump supporters were infiltrators like John Sullivan. The other thing I have to openly say is Black Lives Matter terrorized our nation.
Yes.
For months.
Burned buildings.
For months. Absolutely.
Terrorized us. The Democrats and some Republicans thought it was appropriate to bail them out of jail. They are
Kamala
not.
did.
I think it's
exactly.
a lawsuit was filed against Louisiana protest organizer DeRay McKesson after a protester injured an officer. The injured officer claimed that McKesson knew or should have known that violence would likely ensue. Oh, dude, that's insane.
I'm completely with you on that.
They did not pay the price for what they did, and yet innocent people like Brandon Struck from the Walkaway campaign had his home raided. He went to jail. He's still on probation.
Kim Kardashian involved?
I think that
Brandon Straka, the gay guy who's like, oh, I left the left. I love Trump now. I'm gay, by the way.
She might be able to help.
Is she your idol, girl?
She already has one person and Trump and her.
there's a fair counterpoint there. I want to just ask kind of a follow-up question. If Biden loses, who thinks that we'll see protests at the scale that we saw in 2020?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
Probably even more.
Oh,
Can I just get a raise of hands?
It will terrorize our nation.
Turned cars.
We will be
They
terrorized.
burnt things.
I feel like they're all kind
They
of
closed down the freeways.
The difference is that the protests, the violence, the riots are going to be worse, and also the prosecutions are going to be almost non-existent. We know this for a fact because we saw the same thing happen with George Floyd.
The whole reason I
we
didn't
don't have
come here
equal justice.
Corey, let's
initially when you asked the question is because, well, A, you're getting the right in trouble for something they haven't done yet. And they really, the right deserves credit for how much crap the left. Oh, they're so dangerous, so dangerous. Well, here's the facts. So the right had one bad day, January 6th. The left tried to burn down the country.
Yeah.
And none of that, and it's like, can we just look at the fact? And nothing pisses me off more than the damage of private property. I don't care what, if it's a pencil. If I give you a pencil, you destroy it, I'm furious.
Murdered children.
What are you saying? Nothing? You can't think of anything else? Really? Nothing. Like that's it. That's the thing.
I'm gonna run it again. Can we just look at the fact? And nothing pisses me off more than the damage of private property. I don't.
He's like, distribution of child pornography? Breaking a pencil? Oh, I'm so mad. Nothing makes me more mad. Yeah, this is the final level of being an ANCAP. When you value property so much more than human life that you unironically just don't care about human life at all, as long as it's not touching property. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, no, you're right. This is the type of dude. This is the type of dude who would be more in favor of women's rights if women were still property. You know what I mean? God, he's such a Redditor. You know his ass loves the Kyle Rittenhouse court case.
I don't care what if it's a pencil. If I give you a pencil, you destroy it. I'm furious.
Murdered children.
What do you do? And they tried to burn the country down. And even January 6th itself, did they spray paint the inside of the beautiful marble? No, did they take any paintings down, or did they?
Yes, they did. Wait, what? They absolutely did, bro. What are you talking about?
Destroy any statues? No.
They broke
even when they went in the chamber itself, the police were like, guys, you gotta leave. Yeah, okay.
They were milling about like they didn't even know what.
I mean, was it a bad day? Absolutely, it was a bad day.
I have to.
But
They
it wasn't
stayed within the velvet ropes.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm right over here.
I just want to see the left more.
Bro, they definitely f***ed it up. What are you talking about? It's on video. Thank God for the fact check showing $30 million in damage.
Or attack for what they did.
Breaking and entering is okay as long
Yeah,
as there's
what?
no
But
damage.
at least it's a public building. At least it's a public building. It's not a private
I
building.
want to hear your disagreement.
Good thing I'm not a Democrat.
I am not.
Bro, yeah. Someone died. I mean, 5 people died in relation to it ultimately, but like one person directly was shot and killed. And on the video, you can clearly see someone breaking the window to try and enter the area where all the congresspersons are. Like, what do you think is going on there?
I am not saying BLM riots were a terrible thing, okay? Yeah. I'm not saying they were justified. But there is footage of Trump, like, no matter how many, you know, you say like even 100, let's say like a high number, like 100 FBI agents were in the crowd, right? Going into the, there's still Trump supporters smashing in the windows at the behest of
like
Donald
John
Trump.
Sullivan, the infiltrator from Utah, smashing windows.
Because Donald Trump brought them to the Capitol.
She really invested in this, like, the one black guy narrative.
And he
killing it with that one. No, you don't get it. 1,000 arrested and convicted, but the one black guy who also was arrested and convicted, by the way, everybody was listening to him. That's why they all flew in. That's why they all marched to the Capitol. That's why they all pushed in, broke through the wall, broke through the halls, broke through the windows. I mean, listen, January 6th was awesome. It was hilarious. I think overall, it's like classic comedy. I'm a fan. Like I you know, it's one of the better days of my life, I would say. And I welcome it. Like, if it happens again, you know, I'm not agitating, I'm not inciting it or whatever, but like if it happened again, like I wouldn't be like, oh man, this sucks. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I can say legally without getting plastered all over MSNBC. It's funny. It was objectively funny. If you can't laugh at January 6th, I don't know what you can laugh at. Okay? So oh, Jesus Christ. It was so awesome because of how stupid it was. Like the plan is it's like a child's brain. Yeah, if we stop the vote certification process, then people will magically forget that Trump lost. And then we can sneak in false electors. Like, the entire planet saw this election, saw the outcome of the election. But if we stop, like, not even the counting process, because they tried to do that and it didn't work, okay? They tried to do all of it. They tried to do all of that and it just did not work. So they were like, here's the one last shot in the dark. If we stop a basically symbolic part of this process, then people will just go, yeah, I guess we got to give it to them. Like, oh no, our hands are tied. They stopped the vote certification. I guess we got to do a do-over, or better yet, just give it to Trump. You have to be a child to think that. Like, you have to have a child's brain. And what's really funny about this entire process is that, like, there were thousands of people operating with this child's brain. Man, you will never convince me that January 6th wasn't awesome. Okay? I'm sorry.
He told them that if Mike Pence didn't reject the electors, then Mike Pence is a traitor. So if you have that false dichotomy, it's very easy to see how when you have people outside of the Capitol that are vehement supporters of Trump, right? You'd agree. They're like really, really big supporters of Trump. If you have big supporters of Trump outside the Capitol and they feel like he's being betrayed because there's videos going like inside the crowd of people when Mike Pence rejected the electors, they're like, oh, Mike Pence is a traitor. Mike Pence is a traitor. If you have people with that mindset that are considering themselves to be patriotic Americans and they're outside the Capitol within running or forcing distance of getting to the traitor, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to go get the traitor.
Your worst take is that Babbitt didn't deserve it, to be honest. It's ideologically consistent, which I respect, but it's such a bad take. If she was allowed to breach that area, who knows what congressperson could have been abducted. Okay, but it would be pretty funny if they like nabbed Josh Hawley. Because ultimately, like, what are they going to do? They're not going to do anything. They're stupid. They're stupid. You know what I mean? Like, they're so dumb. To be fair, yeah, they couldn't get Josh Hawley. He was quick as bro. He was running.
Trump should be impugned for saying that people should go and display their
I
First
think
Amendment.
I'm saying he knew what was going to happen. Capable of murder. I mean, I don't think. Like, if they got Ilhan Omar, they would have killed her for sure, or like AOC or something. But it is like, yeah, they are dogs chasing a car, which we repeat a lot when talking about the Republican Party as a whole, as a unit, as a collective hive. But like, that's what it is. It's like you have no tangible, immediate, serious goals. You know what I mean? The pro-Palestinian protesters, or even the anti-apartheid protesters or the anti-Vietnam War protesters, like, they did some crazy, right? But ultimately, not only were they on the right side of history, but also they had like a very obvious goal in mind. It wasn't just like, hey, we're gonna like kidnap this dean by forcing a sit-in outside of his room, outside of his like office, and not let him leave because we're not gonna let him leave because like what? I don't know. No, they like very specifically had goals. Okay, divestment, boycott, sanctions. Like, they didn't just go there and we're like, oh, I don't know, we're just doing this for the vibes, in the same way that like January 6th were doing it. Because January 6th, in many respects, is basically like doing a pro-Israel rally. Okay? What are your demands? More help to Israel? Like what? You want to kill more children? Like, you're already on the side of the government.
As young man, because you just said it doesn't matter if there's 100 FBI agents.
I don't think my age has anything to do with this.
You said it doesn't matter if there's 100 FBI agents in the crowd. Donald Trump still told people to go there. No, it does matter. If FBI agents are in the crowd like Ray Epps and John Sullivan inciting violence.
It was next
to or they were just
there.
Hold on.
Okay, both of those dudes that you mentioned are not FBI agents, and they were both arrested. Like, what are you talking about, dude? It's so stupid. It's also incredibly dumb. Like you're saying that all of the people that were arrested that broke windows and like beat the cops and stuff, like, and organized this with a clear-cut agenda, no matter how childlike the goals were, the ambition was still there. Like, they all got motivated by this one random, these two guys. Like, what are you saying?
There's a reason why entrapment exists as a law. If law enforcement agents are entrapping individuals to commit a crime, we do not prosecute that. So if you're admitting that they were potentially...
Wait, what? Bro, what? Wait. Entrapment? I don't think you understand how entrapment works if you think that, like, this would be entrapment in this situation. Like, the overwhelming amount of motivation came from individuals who in their heart believed that they were doing the right thing for Donald Trump, which is precisely the same reason why you called them politically prosecuted, like, hostages and shit. If anything, they got entrapped by Donald Trump, I guess. are you talking about? It's so stupid. This guy is like a Republican operative, apparently.
Engaging in entrapment, then what does it matter?
I didn't admit anything of that.
You said it doesn't matter if FBI agents are in the crowd.
I'm saying the FBI.
You just said that.
Okay, yeah.
Bro, it's like trying to do a sting op on someone who's like just walking by, and you literally walk up dressed up like a sex worker, and you're just like, come on, let's have sex. Let's have illegal sex. Let's have illegal sex. And then there's another dude down the line, like who's actually participating as a John voluntarily in sex work, like going and you know, trying to have sex with a prostitute on the street corner, and he gets arrested, and you turn around and you're like, oh, well, I was entrapped. It's like, bro, that's a whole different scenario that was happening back there, okay? Like, you did it on your own. What are you talking about? Not to say that, like, I agree with you know, criminalizing sex work in general. I don't. But it's so stupid. You did that shit on your own. You flew there. What do you mean? You flew there. You personally put money forward to stay in a hotel. You flew there. You brought all your MAGA merch. And then you broke the window. What are you talking about?
Yes, I'm admitting that there were FBI agents in the crowd because they've admitted that themselves. Right.
And John Sullivan's in the crowd.
I'm not saying there weren't FBI.
Listen, he was next to Ashley Babbitt when she was murdered.
There you go.
Can I ask a follow-up? Did anybody, what they saw on January 6th, did anybody support?
No.
Or if you were there?
Why, pussy? No. Why? If you don't support it, why do you want to save the political prisoners then? Like, they had it coming then. Like, there's a degree. Like, entrapment is very real, and the FBI does it on a regular basis. So I'm not gonna sit here and act like that's not a real thing. It's just that is a coordinated effort that takes a very long time to put together, and like the enthusiasm still has to be, like, the enthusiasm cannot be in the hands of like this voluntary individual that took time out of his own day to do this.
Oh, because I saw what was happening, and I wanted the debate on the floor. I wanted to watch our senators and congressmen argue it out.
And the right had been so well behaved up to that moment. It kind of ruined their immunity.
Trump supporters are fun. We have the best time.
I don't support breaking windows.
No,
I don't support
Trumptillas incorporates.
I don't support breaking windows. I don't support trespassing. But I think the reason we can't ignore the reason why the left is focusing so much on January 6th.
By the way, you want to know, like, the BLM conversation is so stupid, by the way, because they act like nobody got arrested, okay, during the George Floyd protest when people were getting black bagged by Bortak in Portland, okay? 14,000 people were arrested by the end of June 2020, okay? 14,000 people. 1,000 people arrested on January 6th. 14,000 people by the end of June 2020, okay? What are we talking about?
It's not out of honesty. It's not because...
And by the way, they weren't arrested after the fact. They were arrested immediately by the cops that they were protesting against, oftentimes in incredibly brutal ways. So the notion that, like, you know, oh, they let BLM rioters do anything they wanted to, which is hilarious because that happened under Donald Trump. So technically you're saying Donald Trump didn't prosecute the Black Lives Matter rioters, which he definitely did, okay? It's so stupid. It makes no sense, much like none of the arguments make sense at all. None of it has to make sense. It's just fifis and vibes.
They were actually outraged. It's to pin a political picture of Donald Trump as someone who tried to stage a failed coup. So excuse me if I'm not going to care that Trump wanted his people to peacefully protest and then they broke some windows. When we have, I mean, with people like AOC, I think maybe Biden and Kamala Harris themselves, basically propagating the idea that George Floyd was murdered, that spurred how many millions or even more dollars of damage and all those.
Don't forget about
actually, the coroner's report said it was fentanyl.
Trump lying that the election was stolen is actually real. It's a real narrative, and he should be able to say it. And he's not actually trying to do. He's not actually trying to incite a riot. Okay, even though he did. But George Floyd murdered in broad daylight by Derek Chauvin, who was convicted of the crime, mind you, and he did it literally in front of like 40 people with phone cameras. Okay, the idea that was actually like race baiting or trying to incite a riot because it was false. Like, what is the argument? Is George Floyd alive?
No.
What do you mean? The
I'm sure it did.
tactic,
So it's a distraction.
I'm sure that report. No,
he asked me a question.
Yeah, like 3 times the legal amount.
I just want to hear from Travis before
3 times the legal amount.
I'm sure
frankly,
that
the
report.
left. Frankly, the left.
Quiet, you guys.
Let Travis talk.
Sorry,
The
Travis.
left often uses distraction tactics in order to paint the Republicans into a bad corner from 1 or 2 bad days like you were just describing. Thank you for everything that you just said, by the way. Anything that we see that the Black Lives Matter movement has done lately has honestly been to the detriment of our country, mainly because of all the destruction of private property, like you were saying before. And
yeah, these guys 100% care more about private property than they care about people. I mean, I guess you have to if you're a conservative. I tried to describe this in during the Black Lives Matter protests, where like the only reason why you care about private property is because it hurts a human being. Okay, at the end of the day, if in some magical, mystical argument, if your argument was correct, in a scenario where like there was just a, I don't know, tree, for example, that did not belong to a human being at all, just a random tree that is on the verge of dying anyway, okay? And you cut that tree down, ultimately, it wouldn't even matter. It wouldn't matter to anybody. You wouldn't care about the tree being cut down. Trees get cut down on a regular basis to make paper anyway. My point is, the only reason why you care about private property at the end of the day is because someone owns it, okay? You're harming someone's chances of making money. So if you care about someone's chances of making money and how that was disrupted a little bit, then you should be extra mad about a state-sponsored murder. Because what's worse, murder or losing out on profit margins for lifeless, faceless mega corporations? Poor analogy, honestly. No, it's not. How is that a poor analogy? The reason why I mentioned a tree is because like everyone associates a building with like a human being. It's hard. So I'm saying like nobody actually cares about the damage to a structure. They care about the harm that ultimately comes to a person who owns the structure. And obviously that harm is never like physical harm, but that harm would be in this situation like harm to their profit margins, potentially. That's why you care about private property, because it's still at the end of the day has the capacity to like hurt a person's profit margins, therefore like hurt them, right? In the most extreme example, if you were to burn down a small business, right, owned by a family of immigrants, okay, and that's their lifeline, and they didn't have insurance, you would f their lives up. Right? You their lives up. They're cooked. They have nothing. It's not just like a lifeless faceless corporation. You ruin their lives. That is genuine harm to their lives, their well-being. That's the reason why people care about private property, right? That's the reason why people care about private property, because ultimately it still is owned by a person, and that person can experience harm. If you are worrying about the profit margins of a small business owner, okay, and in many cases, it wasn't a small business owner regardless, okay? Regardless. It was literally just like people complaining that the windows of a Jiffy Lube was broken or the windows of a Target was broken, right? Or, or colonizer statues were taken down and people were losing their minds over it. Like that didn't even hurt anyone. That was just, you know, hurting the feelings of white supremacists, right? Ultimately, if you were mad about like some potential small business owners building being burned down and the harm that is going to come to that small business owner, not physical harm, but like material harm, then you should be up in arms. You should be up in arms about the harm that was done to a person whose life was taken.
Especially with the frequency of how often that has happened, especially within the last 8, even 12 years. I have seen more destruction in my life from the left than I ever have from the right.
Exactly. I agree, but just because the left has caused destruction, I don't think we can excuse the destruction.
What does that mean?
Like, if Donald Trump did not cause January 6th, no one caused January 6th.
How can
it was
how
Twitter
tweet cause the entirety of January 6th?
Don't say
it wasn't
that,
a tweet. It was the fact that Mike Pence didn't accept the electoral vote. It was not just a tweet.
No.
It was not just a tweet.
It
was the fact
Actually,
that Mike
Twitter
Pence
took it down. He banned.
Yes,
Twitter
he
banned.
did call for
Trump
peace.
that
He did call for
day.
peace, right? I'm not arguing that.
But they're mitigating the power of social media, and I like you a lot, but I don't feel like that's a fair statement.
Well, they censored
Can
Trump
I just provide
that
an
day.
example? So if you send 3 people to a soccer game, right? and you tell them before, if the game loses like if this team loses the game, then the game is rigged, and you should attack not attack the refs, but the refs are like worthy of being like they're terrible people. They're terrible people. You should rush the pitch afterwards, whatever. And then you send them communication during the game that says, actually, like, you should be peaceful. But only like 2 out of the 3 get it. And then the 1 that doesn't get it still rushes the field. The person who inspired them to be there in the first place is still responsible for them rushing the field.
If Trump said rush the pitch.
Exactly.
He said be there. Not. And he said that Mike Pence would be a traitor.
Be there. If you have your voice be heard, is what he said.
When you have extremist groups there, that is the logical conclusion of what they were going to do, and he knew that.
Okay, we gotta reset. For the
This is so weird. He told him to do it. What are we talking about? He literally was there. He gave a speech. He gave them a speech. What is happening?
The final prompt. Biden has a better chance of winning the election than Trump. Will the agreeers please come forward?
Oh, you know, when Lady MAGA is the only one that pulls up to the function, you know you're about to hear some unrestricted, unregulated insanity. Unshackled.
Some hesitation.
Some hesitation, yes. The heartbreaking reason that I have stepped forward is not because I believe that Donald Trump could legitimately...
Let me guess. He's gonna say Joe Biden's gonna cook the books again, like he did last time. And that's why Biden has a better chance of winning the election than Trump. And they hate him because the Dems are rigging it.
They lose an election. America needs Donald Trump. We had 4 great years under him. And the average Joe, the 9-to-5ers who work hard, need Donald Trump in office, and they know it. I get countless emails from people who said, I'm reconsidering everything I ever thought about Donald Trump. His popularity is unparalleled, and we...
Bro, this dude is like one step removed from getting activated by a FBI agent. I swear to God. Brother, listen. Whoever you're talking to in Discord circles, they are not real Discord kittens, okay? If they try to get you to like go and purchase, I don't know, assault rifles or Tenorite, just know that you are being set up, okay? I'm letting you know right now. The things that you are posting in this chat, are genuinely making me feel like you're about to be activated as a sleeper cell, okay? You said the cabal chooses Trump this time. You also think that like Black Lives Matter mostly damaged family-owned businesses and franchises, and that they should have went for the gated communities and not the family-run shops. You are living on a completely different reality. Fed like these dogs, what? Oh my God. This might come across as a little like racially motivated of me, but as soon as I saw this collection of dogs, I never would have thought that this would be in China. Like, I feel like this is like white people dogs. Like, this collection of dogs, I feel like is the most like little racially motivated. No, I'm serious. My brother in Christ, I know what you meant, but holy, find a better way to say it. Never thought I'd see anti-dog racism even from you. I think the chat thought you were going to say something else about dogs in China. No, like labs are popular all over the world for their temperament, but I feel like as someone who has literally like 2 different Chinese dog breeds in one dog, what I was trying to say is that like I feel like there's a lot of cool dogs in China, cool dog breeds in China, and I feel like when I see a collection of dogs, mostly labs like this, I just immediately assume this is a white lady that's feeding them this delicious food. That's why you can't judge a book by its cover, okay? Yep, your clip that's going on TikTok. I think people will understand what I meant.
We are the silent majority because of the chilling effect. I lost my 8-year career in the airline industry essentially for being a Trump supporter and a Second Amendment supporter. People cannot speak out. I know the silent majority of this country. I've traveled this country for 5 years. I know the American people, and I know that Donald Trump would win the election. The reason I'm heartbroken to be sitting here right now agreeing with that is because I do not fully trust our election process.
I see.
Some hesitation for me because I had to separate the difference between the strategy likelihood of Trump winning versus the reality of all the odds against Donald Trump. So I came to sit here, I agree with your prompt, because all the odds are absolutely stacked against Donald Trump. If you would have told me 15 years ago there's going to be a presidential candidate who the NBA and all of Hollywood and all of professional sports campaigns against, yet that candidate only loses by razor-thin margins, that's what Trump happened in 2020. So Trump has all the odds stacked against him. And by the way, he has hours of lawfare preventing him from raising funds, preventing him from campaigning. He has all the odds stacked against him, yet he's still doing great in polling. And I think that's just a testament to how much the American people reject Biden and embrace and long for everything that Trump did during 2016 and 2020. But I agree with your prompt, because at the end of the day, the odds are so stacked against Donald Trump. It's just factually accurate that Donald Trump is essentially facing an insurmountable battle against the uniparty and the deep state. One that I do think he's going to win, but I do think that the odds are certainly stacked against him.
Okay. The reality is people.
It's so crazy to think this. He was the president for 4 years, man. Rich people are almost all of his donations, as we saw earlier today. 69% of Trump's donations come from like the omega wealthy. Okay, it is so crazy to say that like the deep state is after him. Yeah, dude, they hated the tax cuts. Like, oh my God, capital owners hated the tax cuts, the uniparty.
People remember what life was like for 4 years under the Trump administration. That inherently makes him popular because they have proof of what kind of a president he will be again. So if he loses, unless there's transparency that's proven transparency, I will campaign with all my heart, and I will pray for a miracle, and I will pray that hearts will be changed, and it will be so obvious that he won that it happens. But I just don't see that happen because they've got him in a courtroom where he can't even campaign right now.
What was life like when Trump was president?
Oh, we had.
Legal institutions seem to be after Trump, though. Although he's a pretty dodgy dude, to be fair, question mark. Yeah, dude. Yeah, that's why legal institutions seem to be after him. Because he did a whole bunch of both in and out of office.
Prosperity, we had energy independence, beautiful energy independence, which means we weren't dependent on foreign oil. Iran, the country that's funding the terrorism in Palestine right now, was broke under Donald Trump. We had peace through strength. The world did not want to mess with Donald Trump. He basically said, if you mess with America, we will decimate you. We love you.
That's why we had no new wars.
No new wars. And now we are embroiled in the most terrifying, awful wars around the world, and it started as soon as good old Mr. Joe Sniffer.
Bro, what are we talking about? We're embroiled in all of these world wars all around the world, and as soon as Trump left office, it's like we've never not been in war. Like, do you know what country we're a part of? Do you think this is like, do you think this is Malta? Like, what's going on? Like, there's never been a moment where America has not been doing wars. Before Trump, during Trump, after Trump. That's what we do.
We're on the ground currently in Ukraine. U.S. boots are on the ground in Israel, and U.S. boots are on the ground in the Gaza Strip currently because of Joe Biden and the war drive that Trump's not a part of.
Can you elaborate? No, I will not elaborate at the top of the hour beyond the fact that the real war you should be fighting against is the 3-minute ad break. Okay? Yeah, where are you? Where is your username? Can you elaborate, ass? Yeah! Yeah, I'll elaborate. There's a 3-minute ad break coming for you right now. And if you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe.
Yes. Housing was more affordable. Groceries are more affordable. Gas was more affordable. Life, if anyone is honest, if they just eliminate the personality of Trump, they don't like Trump, we get that. And you ask them, was this good for you? Was this good for you? Did this benefit you? The answer is yes. And women and children who are being trafficked and kidnapped and dying on our border right now because it's open, they were not because our border was almost secure. We had the most secure border. And that's not about keeping Mexicans out. It's about saving the lives of Mexican people who are dying and being trafficked.
Yeah, Trump did such a good job of taking all those children and just like putting them in prison and forcibly separating them from their mothers and fathers as a deterrence measure. That was so much better for those children. What the are you saying? Instead of some imaginary like situation where like Biden is egging it on or something. If only there was a way to try and stop this kind of thing from happening, which is, I don't know, not restricting immigration so that people go through illegal measures, like having a more understanding approach to immigration. Peep Lady Maga's Israel takes.
So I did a
Do queers of Palestine understand what they're supporting? Oh my God. Idiot. I don't want to do this. I'm going to have an aneurysm.
On the border right now. It's just in Mexico. I love those people. I don't want a strong border because I'm racist. I care about them. I talked to a Mexican girl and they found a young girl who had 60 different DNAs were in her body. That's what we're talking about when we have an open border. Donald Trump cares about this country. And yes, he points out the
he is so fucking nutty.
Rapists and the criminals, but he also cares about those people. But the media will never tell you that. And we as MAGA Trump supporters, we know that a strong border would save Mexican lives, it would save American lives. And that's why I think the average
yeah, definitely. It would save Mexican lives. How would it save Mexican lives? By just straight up killing all the Mexicans that try to cross the border. That's how we save the Mexican lives, okay? That's why I love Governor Greg Abbott, who's setting up booby traps. I love Governor Greg Abbott, who's like putting like children's lunchboxes on the border attached to fucking landmines and specifically so the Mexican children crossing the border explode on impact. That's how we're going to save the Mexican lives at the border. Thank you. Thank you for saving the Mexican lives at the border, dude.
American knows that now. And here we are. I mean, they're...
Okay, I'm exaggerating. He didn't do the children's lunchbox with landmines. He only put saw traps. He did do the saw trap thing. He put like, what is it, concentrate wire? And like, he put saw blades and razor wire on the things that you hold on to. On the buoys in the river.
Prosecuting the man who could save the lives of Mexicans.
Thanks for your response. Let's bring in our disagreeers. Do you want to start?
Sure. Well, I think both of you made really good points about the election integrity and the fact that there are a lot of problems we saw in 2020 that have not been resolved. Social media censorship, the issue of ballot harvesting, voter ID laws, the people who are working the polls, all of those are still problems.
What would you say to someone who says that that's a deterrent from people coming in? Yeah, it hasn't stopped people coming in. People are just dying more. That's the answer. The best way to do it is like, ask your parents this, okay? If you were starving, you didn't have any food, what would they do? Would they go and steal a loaf of bread for you so you could eat the food? The answer is probably yes, if they're normal people, okay? What's the reason why they're not doing that right now? Because they have the option. Because they work, they have money, okay? That's it. When there is a path of less resistance, people will take that path. It's a matter of opportunity. If you shut off the opportunity, then yeah, people who are in dire need of aid, people who are escaping violence, are going to cross the border illegally.
I'm hopeful that everything can be overcome by how dissatisfied with the economy and the state of the country the American people are. When it was 2020, there was a lot of anti-Trump sentiment, and Joe Biden represented perhaps a return to normalcy. He's just like Barack Obama Part 2. Obama wasn't so bad, right? The world kept going. That's what they were thinking, right? But now we've actually seen what 4 years of Joe Biden has done. Inflation is insane.
Yeah, not gonna lie, the second time doesn't hit as hard. Barack Hussein Obama, that's the third time he said that. Is not hitting as hard.
You know, they say the unemployment numbers are good. A lot of that is just regaining jobs from COVID, and the workforce participation rate is still not recovered from the pandemic. So a lot of these jobs are actually just people getting back to work instead of new jobs. The border is open. We have these new wars. There's so many problems that I think it would be so unbelievable if they tried to pull what they did in 2020 once more, that I'm hoping they don't try again, or if they do, that they're caught.
So here's what I'll say. I think you make a lot of good points about Joe Biden. I will say this is why I'm a Republican, because I don't agree with Joe Biden, right?
But you'll vote for him.
I will vote for him over someone who tried to pull a coup on this country, yes.
Obama was a way better president compared to Biden. It's not even close. No, you're wrong. Biden's domestic policies were literally better than Barack Obama's, with the exception of Israel. The idea that like Barack Obama was a better president than Joe Biden is ridiculous, especially with like the momentum that Obama had. Oh my God, dude, are you kidding me? He had a super majority. What are we talking about? No, I will never. He had a super majority Oh my God. No one, yeah, but most don't care about foreign policy. Obama's foreign policy was dog too. He had some pretty good signature accomplishments with Cuba, normalization with Cuba, denuclearization agreement with Iran. Those were two pretty solid foreign policy initiatives. But like Barack Obama also did the troop surge, lied about closing Guantanamo Bay. He was the drone king. He was the first, as far as we know, to do extrajudicial drone killings of an American citizen. Once again, he literally had a super majority and he f***ed it. We could have passed anything we wanted, man. Can you imagine the Barack Obama that ran on like card check, ran on you know, some kind of socialized medicine, ran on the public option? We could have had all that codifying Roe v. Wade. Obama never had a functional supermajority. Yeah, that's copium, okay? You're going to say there were Democrats who disagreed with him. There were spoilers. Oh, newsflash, bro. There's always spoilers. What are we talking about? He should have literally killed Joe Lieberman. How about that? And we're talking about before this as well, by the way, before Joe Lieberman. Do your job. Throw him in jail. Sick the IRS on him. What are you doing? Kill him. You did extrajudicial drone killings of American citizens. Kill some congressperson then. I don't give a do your job. Why is he still around?
Russiagate was a coup on this country.
No, I don't. That's irrelevant.
Do you believe Trump colluded with Russia? Did Trump
collude with
Russia?
You guys are misunderstanding what I'm saying. Obviously, you don't have to do that. The point is, if there's a will, there's a way. That's why I always talk about applying pressure to congresspersons. Okay, that's not backpedaling. There are a million different ways that the American government, if there is genuine interest, could utilize any state authority, any federal authority to, you know, get congresspersons to act a certain way. There's a whole position called the whip. I'm not even talking about like threatening to remove people from committee positions, which is one way to do it. I'm talking straight up, oh, they don't want to do that. They don't want to play ball. Prosecute family. Like, what are you talking about? Prosecute their family. Joe Manchin was a great example. I said it so many times, okay? Threaten to remove him from committee positions. Oh, he's not going to budge. Guess what, dude? Why the is your daughter a pharmaceutical executive? Why the is your brother the owner of a coal mine? Okay, we're going to go after them now. I am going to audit. I am going to create an audit regime so brutal that you are going to need the highest level of autism to even get out of the paperwork that I will put on all of the corporations that your goddamn stupid spawn own. Okay? Do you understand? That's just one thing you could do. One thing. I am going to literally jail your daughter for artificially increasing the price of medicine that was then sold to West Virginia schools. You are the West Virginia senator. I'm going to throw you in jail. I'm going to throw your daughter in jail. I'm going to throw you in jail. You don't want to vote? Oh, you want changes made to the IRA? Guess what, dude? You're going to jail. You should be thinking about how you are going to be someone's prison. And I'm not sending you to a nice federal facility either. I'm going to do everything in my power to send you to the worst goddamn facility that we have. We have many of them. Daughter, jail. Brother, jail. You, jail. It's stupid. It's so stupid. By the way, the funniest thing is, like, I'm not even talking about made up charges. Like, you don't even have to make shit up, because the American, can you watch a video my friend made for me for my birthday? Oh God. Oh no. Okay. In a second. Barack Obama could have done that. Joe Biden could have done that. Kirsten Sinema, jail. Okay. Corruption charges. Why are you, we're going to look into your lobbying donations. I agree, but wouldn't people get angry about authoritarianism? It's an optics argument. So sorry. I don't give a, especially someone like Barack Obama, let's say, or even Joe Biden. You could just be like, listen, these people are corrupt. I don't care. Okay. No more corruption. Call me a Latin American CIA backed candidate the way I'm going to run on tackling corruption in DC. That's what Trump did. The things that I'm talking about are literally valid cases. I am demanding more of the criminal justice system doing actual criminal justice system. It's not like I'm saying make up fake charges. I gave you literal, real instances. Sick the SEC on every single dog in Congress. Every single congressperson to a certain degree engages in illicit trading, okay? Every single one of them has a weakness. You could throw every single one of them in jail by using the laws that are in the books. And this is the nuclear option. I'm not saying you need to use this option. I'm simply saying that's the threat, okay? That's the threat. It never happens like that. It obviously doesn't have to get to that level. You just threaten them with that. And then when they chirp about it, then you go to the media and you say, what is happening in West Virginia? These people are some of the poorest people out here. They have not gotten the help that they need. I'm the motherfucking president. I'm using the bully pulpit. I want Joe Manchin to do what's right by West Virginia. If he doesn't do what's right by West Virginia, we are going to actively prosecute his corrupt daughter and his corrupt brother. None of this shit is actually a demand that, like, you know, people get sent to the gulag for no reason for having, like, you know, a different political ideology than you or something. You can sell that. How many people are going to go out to bat to be like, no, I actually do think we should save Joe Manchin's daughter who raised for no reason pharmaceutical prices? Like, no, I'm gonna defend her for free. The reason why, and this chatter is absolutely correct, the reason why this technique is something that I am very familiar with is because we use these techniques all the time, okay? We use them, for example, on Turkey all the time. Whenever the American government wants to put pressure on the Erdogan regime, they just go, all right, open up the new court case. That's it. Open up a new court case into his banking. And then he falls in line. If we can do that to a whole other nation and the leader of an entirely separate nation, why can't we do that to the motherfucking senator from West Virginia? Suck my. This guy, they will kill your kin and every lifeblood after. What? This guy deadass thinks is that simple. Just get a little power than jail. Lemafau, you're a joke, dude. You're a clown for having this take. Delete your channel, dude. Lemau, you're a fucking joke for this take. You just sick the SEC on him. Lemafau, have you never touched this world? Lemafau, you have no clue what you're saying. Brother, you need your medication immediately. I'm right now. Call me a doctor. The way I'm telling you your lithium prescription is, you know, you didn't take it today, okay? You have to refill. You have to go to the pharmacy. Just turn off the internet right now. Turn your computer off. Dart to the pharmacy and be like, I need my lithium. My script, I forgot about it. Shit is not good right now. I need meds, bro. You have no clue how much money there is out there. Bro, you straight up. And you think it's that simple. Everyone sees what I think. Okay, maybe you're a little bit drunk. Maybe you shouldn't take medication right now because it seems like you're inebriated. Just act normal. Bro, you can't say that they're going to kill your grandma for me demanding that the American government actually do what they do all the time. I think he's correct. Shadows will see some dude genuinely going through chaotic life changes and expressing themselves in perhaps the worst ways possible and go, that's my shit, big dog. Yo, that psycho, that schizophrenic guy on a soapbox next to the metro station, that's my guy. I love that guy. He is so right. A chatter before posting. Why do you have the streamable ready to go? Back when men were men. Okay, speaking of M-HUD streamable links, let's take a look. It's M-HUD's birthday. Happy birthday, M-HUD. I didn't know if you wanted that out there or not, but since you voluntarily revealed that information, happy birthday, M-HUD. Seems like your best friend sent you a message or something. I don't know what this is about.
This is your video. It's Michael Rappaport. I am here to wish you a happy, fantastic, pickle birthday. Mike, you're kicking ass. I know you love Musk, and you can't stand those miserable, motherless Israel creep cocksuckers. I know you love your whiskey, and you're a hilarious retired dentist. Listen, this is your video. It's Michael Rappaport. Me, I got Israel derangement syndrome. I don't like any of them. I think they all suck. Anyway, I hope you're good. I hope you're safe. I hope you had a great birthday. The party can't stop. Won't stop. You sound like you have a beautiful, crazy, sick family. They told me to say Israel as many times as I possibly.
Dude, I will never get over the fact that Michael Rappaport is not like Michael Rappaport is not genteel, okay? Like my whole life, I thought he was Polish, but like the anti-Semitic kind, okay? Like my entire life, I thought he was like, you know, classic anti-Semitic Polish guy. Like I would have never in a million years. Yeah, he is Jewish. Like he just comes across so Catholic, dude. He has the most Catholic vibes. He has the Polish roundhead phenotype. I actually am right, and I work with people that run this dog shit a pop. But hey, meme on me and make fun. I just don't type right because I don't give a f. You know AWS owns you, buddy. Talk to me nice. Bro's gonna do a terrorism on AWS servers, dude. He said my uncle is the A. Okay? Yeah, that's right. John Amazon. Heard of it? I love you, chatter. Thank you. He's got to be hammered. Anyway, let's get back to this happy birthday wish.
Possibly can. All right, you're so cool. You're so cool. To quote the great Michael Rappaport, Israel, it's a pain in the. It is a pain in the. It sucks. Truly, truly. It sucks. Take it easy, my friend. I still think that Hamas should have won. So enjoy your birthday, enjoy the summer, and have a healthy, kick-ass, fantastic pickle rest of 2024.
But yeah, you're gonna tell me this guy is not like a Catholic Polish anti-Semite, and you're gonna tell me that he's instead the #1 dick rider of Israel and still anti-Semitic because he's like a hyper-Zionist and Jewish as well, is just like the most shocking revelation of this year for me. Yeah, enjoy the pickle birthday. What is this?
I'm not gonna be able to compete with the drums. But whatever.
Bro, this guy loves Israel so much. Maybe he's not a Redditor. He is, after all, outside. All right, well, let's finish this video.
No, it's still an election. No. Okay.
And so this country went through 2.5 years.
Okay, to be fair, he is outside with an accordion, which is, you know, it loops back to being a Redditor.
The special counsel $40 million on a dossier that Hillary Clinton paid for.
Wait, does the Biden-Ukraine corruption not bother you? Does that not bother you at all?
Well, I'll just say this.
10% for the big guy.
It went through the entire House, right? There's Biden-Ukraine corruption, Biden-Hunter Biden corruption. They couldn't get an impeachable offense to pass the House.
Oh, it's still in process.
No, it actually ended.
It's still,
recently.
no, it didn't.
Yeah.
No, it didn't.
It did. There was some kind of impeachment.
No, I watched the hearings. I'm a hearing junkie. That's what I do.
Okay. It will not pass the House.
Well,
right?
what it won't pass is the Senate because we have a Democrat majority in the Senate.
Either way,
just like the mayor
your friends are all running
pass the House. There are enough Republicans that are not willing to go that low that it will not pass the House. So I think it's irrelevant. I know Biden has done a terrible job, and I admit that. But I think
you'll vote for him.
I think you'll vote for him.
It's only well, it's either that. I'm not saying I would 100% vote for him. I would definitely feel better voting for a third party. Right, I would feel better voting for a libertarian.
Why aren't you voting libertarian then? Why would you admit to vote?
Even though I have strong disagreements with RFK,
Why not vote for RFK then?
Because I don't feel like in this system, I actually have written about this in the past, in this system where there's a tie-break system for the Electoral College, the reason why we're in a two-party system is because there's no way for a third-party candidate to actually win enough support in the Electoral College, and then once they get to a tie-break, they have nothing in Congress to support them.
Can we define what the two-party system is first? Because we have way more than two parties in
Republican,
this country.
yeah, but it's been whittled down over time to a two-party system. So back to my point. Back to my point.
Can I ask if you're going to vote for Biden?
Yeah, because she asked too a long time ago.
Yeah, we want to know.
Okay, so first of all,
let's do a raise of hands. So just real quick, who here is going to vote for Trump?
I could be.
You guys are going to vote for Biden?
What? Okay. Who here? So we have 3 for Trump. Who here is voting?
I'm going to talk about it.
Who here is voting for Biden?
Maybe.
You undecided voters.
You slippery fish.
I'm just joking. I think in a binary choice, I would rather have someone who hasn't tried to overthrow the country. So I will probably end up forcing myself to plug my nose and vote for Biden.
Okay, so we have a soft Biden, we have our clear Trumps. I want to hear who the candidate is that the other people are voting for. So let's start.
I would say, like, I'm with him on the fence. I would rather have an aging brain versus a dementia brain. I would rather have someone who's not sexually harassing people than a misogynist. These types of things. However, I don't agree with the communistic energy of Biden, and so for that, it would be like,
yo, I love this lady. I'm back on the lady train again. I hop back on it. Communistic? You can't be serious, man. She said the communistic Biden. Also, she's just wrong on both accounts. Like, she's like, oh yeah, I don't want to vote for a misogynist. Fine, okay, Trump is a misogynist, like, piece of shit, whatever. Okay. But, like, which Republican candidate wouldn't? Like, which Republican candidate fits that bill? I guess maybe, like, Mitt Romney definitely did. And you know what? What's his face? Maverick John McCain also certainly did.
it's the lesser of two evils, and I would hope that there would be a new candidate. A lot of my peers, my speech and debate coaches, believe that someone's going to emerge like in August. And so we'll see. I don't know. But like, I'm looking for someone younger. And this, you guys have to realize this is the oldest presidential candidates we've ever had in history.
Yep.
Why are we seeking geriatric people, especially with Donald Trump?
Trump has more energy than a 14-year-old.
Let me get up earlier. Let me finish my point.
Yeah, I want to finish this point, and I want to hear the other candidate.
Donald Trump's mom or his father and grandfather both had dementia by 65. His mother was a schizophrenic.
Doesn't mean he has any of that, sweetie.
He does, though. They've proven it.
Yeah, I got family members who are.
So we got so soft on Biden. Too soft on Biden.
I got family members with schizophrenia. It's like we know, man, we know. That's an argument that like doesn't really suit your purpose. You know what I mean? Like if your goal is to say that like it's not like a heritable trait to get like dementia from your parents or schizophrenia or whatever, like you're making the wrong argument there.
For another candidate.
Travis, who are you voting for?
I would never vote for Biden. I could be convinced to vote for Trump, only if I could get around all of the issues that I have for him on a moral ground.
Exactly.
I am leaning more libertarian at the moment. I voted for Joe Jorgensen in 2020. I very much do not want the government in any of my stuff whatsoever.
Exactly.
So that's my backup.
I will agree with you on the two parts.
He's like, specifically my hard drives. My hard drives. The government should stop searching for those things.
Party system, I would be libertarian if I felt I could be effective as a libertarian.
Okay. Well, I think that's why people
and libertarianism does have its own problems too, especially for the
making our way around.
Yeah.
I will not be voting at all because I am not an American. I've lived in America for years, came the legal way, spent a lot of money and time through the visa process and all of that. But that is one of the reasons why I love Donald Trump. He is not the type of political candidate who's going to put people who are breaking the laws.
Get out. Get out. What are you doing here?
Trying to skip to the front of the line over those of us who are doing everything we can to do things the right way. And Donald Trump is, I think, one of the first candidates to...
Sorry, my mom. I said get out, and guys started barking, but only because my mom apparently just walked in.
Actually talk about merit-based immigration into the United States. He tried to pass the RAISE Act, under which people like me who provide jobs, like I own a company, I employ Americans, it would have been so much easier for us to, I guess, get things done. But instead, we have Joe Biden, who is essentially giving money to people who are breaking the laws, thinking that they have the right to jump to the front of the line, even though I have family members who are going through the same immigration process, and it's a slap in the face.
But so if you could
I love her. I love it. Do you love her too? She's amazing.
She's great. And then Corey, who are you voting for?
I mean, this is such a tough one for me because I'm always rooting for, as I said before, the anti-left. I don't want to call it the right. It's everyone. It's the center, it's the right, it's the far.
He's just describing being a reactionary, by the way. Hiya. Chill out. He's like, I don't give a what people believe. I just hate the left. Oh, you can? Oh, hell yeah. Okay, well, take her out for now to pee.
Far right, it's the libertarians. It's people that aren't supposed to exist. Black conservatives, not supposed to exist. Gay conservatives, not supposed to exist. All these people, I want to see this beautiful movement of all these people that the left is supposed to be so diverse, diversity, blah, blah, blah. Except diversity of thought.
Trump movement.
And to roll them over. And
clock the Gamergate right there. Nobody says that anymore. That's a Gamergate Andy right there. We packed up the whole like diversity of thought argument so quick. It's not like conservatives have a diversity of thought. Accordion Corey's son or Lady MAGA daughter, accordion Corey's son.
It's just, I wish you guys that have been on the right much longer had a kid like, I love Vivek, he's my man.
I love Vivek too, and Trump loves Vivek.
I know, but I wish he was the guy.
If Vivek becomes his vice...
It's going to be real hard for me to not vote for Trump. I mean, again, I love Byron.
Bro, this scared me so much. I literally thought it was another dox. Don't laugh, Anna Faze. You know how many dumb come in here and like write random doxes in the chat? You know how many of those we ban? I thought it was another one of them. I know what it is. I know what it is. I read it first and I hit it. And then I realized, wait, what? Really? Yeah, chatters, you don't see it because we're working around the mother clock. No, it's okay, chatter. It's fine. It was funny. It was funny. It was funny. It's funny because I'm explaining something that happens regularly in here.
I love Tulsa. There's so many people. I want there to be a morally, ethically good person.
So if the election's today, who are you voting for? Come on.
Oh, I mean, I have to go RFK. Sorry. Because I think, here's the thing. I think,
Biden,
quote unquote.
Dude, you are such a idiot. I think he's the dumbest guy there. One, because he's so desperately trying to come across as smart. Anyone who's voting for RFK is a dumbass. I'm sorry. You're a dumbass. You want literally the same exact policies that Joe Biden has put into the table, the same exact way of dealing with Israel, but this time with cryptocurrency and vaccines. No vaccines, sorry. RFK is somehow worse than like other crank candidates because RFK is worse than other crank candidates because like at least like other kinds of crank candidates will just like have diverse opinions, like really weird opinions on specific shit. But RFK is such a classic Democrat, except for the vaccine thing and medicine in general, and also cryptocurrency, that it like frustrates me that people are just like, oh no, I'm a single issue voter. I just want I want the Democratic Party's policies. I want the Democratic Party. I just want it to be sold to me with I want it to be sold to me in a package that is like insane. Oh my God. Of course, dude. Clocksucker 420 is back. What's wrong with the crypto part? I love this chatter. Blockchain voting.
Quote, wasting your vote, I think, is the death of democracy. You should vote for who you want to vote for. If we get into this world of, because 80% of the country hates Biden and Trump. Well, why don't they vote for RFK who has a chance or something? I hate this idea. You have to vote for Biden or Trump or it's a wasted vote. No, that's the death of democracy.
I don't think Biden.
Okay, and unfortunately, we're just out of time, so we have to end it there. But I just want to thank you all for being in this video. It was contentious.
We thought it was going to be all peaceful.
I know, we were so friendly before.
I still love you.
I just want to share my final thoughts. You know, I disagree with many of you on my own personal.
He's a liberal.
But I see the value in all of you. I respect you all as people. I love you all as people. It's been a pleasure. I look.
There's been an issue on TikTok where 18 and 24-year-olds are falling for this bullshit for the past 6 to 8 months. I've seen this rhetoric that voting for RFK will show Democrats they can't force us to vote for them. It's insane. I mean, TikTok didn't really exist with Bernie, so I don't know what kind of capacity it has to like genuinely activate a voter base that normally wouldn't. Because like young voters, it's 25% max. You know what I mean? They're not voting. But having said that, yeah, RFK can't even get on the debate stage with Biden and Trump. Bernie Sanders tried and failed on activating the youth during the primaries, especially. It was even more difficult than the general.
Forward to hopefully, you know, like years.
You got the right shirt on, USA.
Where it's more common for us to just have conversations and.
And honestly, I want to personally thank you for this because in the Republican movement, the MAGA crowd is all about the freedom. The staunch Republican suit and tie crowd often won't even talk with me. So the fact that you are willing to host dialogues with the misfits, with the unicorns, with the people who think outside of the box is a wonderful program.
People who think outside of the box, you literally love the former president of America. Like, you are not edgy. I mean, you're insane, but like your opinions are not that far removed from the average Republican. It is very odd.
We know that you lean left because you asked us our pronouns, but, but
get that in the video.
That being said,
Roggery asked you your pronouns.
It's okay. I'm a man. But you guys are offering one of the only spaces on the internet right now with this fascinating back and forth.
Yeah. And if we don't talk, we're in trouble.
Well, that's
that's exactly right.
So thank
if we don't do
but
this, we are.
I see all your humanity. I hope we all continue to see each other's humanity.
Yes,
definitely.
Because
completely agree.
dehumanization, I think, is the biggest risk.
Setting a space that's safe and.
Why did you say that about Bernie? Say what? That he failed to activate the youth in terms of like, you know, getting votes from the youth? Because it's the truth. Bernie Sanders had a strategy, a unique strategy. It's one that Trump was able to do actually successfully, but not with the youth, but instead with like non-voters. He tried twice. And the reason why I consider that to be a failure is because I don't look at politics and think just because Bernie Sanders is my guy that we failed him. No, his team failed in securing the candidacy for him in the primaries. His strategy of going out and trying to activate non-voters, especially in a primary, it didn't work. It didn't work. And I was very critical, especially the second time around in the primaries, because I openly recognized that Bernie Sanders in the first time around, 2016, was not necessarily just super popular because he was new, unique, socialist, all that stuff. That stuff works. But it was also because he was going up against Hillary Clinton, and Hillary Clinton was really, really unpopular. And that's the reason why he didn't reach that same momentum the second time around, because the second time around, it was not Hillary Clinton. Bernie got snubbed. You said it yourself. No, the primary was stacked against him. Yes, but it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, if he was able to genuinely activate the non-voter population and get them to come out and vote, he would have won. He would have destroyed. He would have cooked it.
Reference.
I begged for him to be way more fucking aggro during the primaries time and time again. I said it a lot. I think his media strategy was kind of weak. And what happened with Bernie? The cabal. Yeah, dude, it was the cabal.